Greetings, Keishlings. Keishan Prime here with another One Punch Man Power Up video. Today we're tackling yet again Child Emperor, S-Class, Rank 5 Hero. Um, with all Power Up videos, I tackle the equipment, general Power Up concepts, super moves, but because it's Child Emperor and he's a gadgeteer, I only could do gadgets. I mean, it's the likely thing to do, right? Excuse me. And I thought to do this because recently in 111, he reappeared. He came to inform the support team above ground, like what the situation was after he found Waganma and all that. And it's like he was going to go back down there after finding out about Tario. And I was like, oh, he seems to be running low on gadgets based on some of the things he said towards the end of um, his fight with Phoenix Man, and I was like, what has he got left? Well, so I thought, hey, let's try and find out some other gadgets that we might see in the future, or what he might actually be hiding. God, these coughs. But anyway, the to kick off, we start out with the anti-grav moon boots. These are inspired by the moon shoes that came of. They've been around since the 1950s, but they made a resurgence in the 1990s with Nickelodeon, and they came out with like the moon shoes, like super jumping. They're basically trampolines on your feet. They just strap onto your shoes and you just jump around. As a kid growing up in the 90s, they seemed cool in practice, but then or in the commercials and whatnot, but like if you really put them on, and you're only getting like maybe 2 inches of extra jump height, so they're not really practical. So I thought, hey, he makes everything look like toys anyway, and child paraphernalia, as it were. So I was like, give it anti-grav effects and tech built in, and then it has the same effects as if he really was on the moon, with that third Earth's gravity and all that. Like, he can jump higher, jump further, and he can use this to set up like traps or something. Like, say he's gonna put like a net shooting trap on a wall or something, but he's got to keep it out of sight. So he jumps up high, plants it, there you go. Also, it can be used for evasiveness, especially if he has any form of propulsion with him as well, because the slow descent will put him kind of in harm's way, but but he could jump off a wall maybe, or like depending on how powerful the polarity of the anti-grav is, it might have like a range that it can pulse off of something. But yeah. Next is Meteor Marbles, another child staple that's been around for quite a while, except this one's been around for hundreds of years, is marbles. You just shoot a marble with you flick it with your thumb, go into a bunch of marbles and see how many you hit. Real simple concept. You could do little trick shots or whatever too, but that was the basic premise. Well, meteor marbles are homing projectiles that, he just flings with his finger. There you go. Even if he doesn't necessarily hit the target as, designated, it's going to home in on a target. Maybe he can, like, set up a certain kind of heat signature or whatever that, like, say, okay, I've scanned these monsters. I know the kind of, biometrics of them, puts it into the marble so that it won't go after a human, because like if you're trying to save someone who's behind the monster, you don't want them to get hit by the marble, right? So yeah. Also, it can be used as a trip mechanism, like almost anything. Marbles have been used in that for pop culture and movies and whatnot forever, so there's that too. Next is the Puppet Gamepad. It looks like a standard like PC or console based like generic handheld console gamepad. Boy, that was a lot of words for nothing. But yeah, just to play a game, whatever. Kids play games all the time, whatever. But this has like a little, kind of like a pod on the end of it. When it opens up after you've hit the fire button, it shoots electrodes, which are that would stick into an enemy. They're wireless, and then they start transmitting a signal back to the controller, and then he can then control said monster that has been attacked by them. So, it's like he can send them to start just wailing on, fellow monster allies, or to just start wailing on themselves. So he doesn't have to really fight in that regard. He's not putting himself in harm's way. He can keep a distance, and, and depending on the array of this, I would assume it would only be a 1-on-1 ratio, but maybe he could do multiple controllers and have like just kind of a weird battle royale kind of deal going. Who knows? But yeah, simple idea. Next is Bonding Slime. Another staple of the 90s, which I'm pretty sure it was probably around before now, but like Nickelodeon, yet again, had a habit of making very popular concepts when it came, or reinventing a concept. And slime, or they called it gack, but it's the same bit. And you can see the YouTube videos of all sorts of people making slime. Well, this bonding slime, as I'm calling it, takes the goopy slime that we're all familiar with, but when it makes contact with the air for about 10 seconds, it bonds to whatever it's in contact with. So he can then just throw it at a target. It can blind them. If they don't get it off in time, it's now stuck to their face. But if it covers their whole face, it can suffocate them, or it can also be used as restraining. Like, say he set it up over an area on the ground, and then, anybody that walks on it is going to get stuck. And if you keep walking on it and it's just stretching, it, eats up that 10-second time limit. So, yeah. 3 practical purposes for slime. I could see him using it as a projectile, either by hand or he shoots it via some kind of apparatus, so that, just to further the chances that he doesn't get stuck to it himself. Next is holodeck cards. Not the holodeck from Star Trek, but holodeck as in holographic deck of cards. Think Yu-Gi-Oh! When Kaiba first came up with the portable dual disc systems, and it was like, oh, it's so crazy, and it's like, you would just throw it out and it would project a monster. Well, this is the same thing, except it's just projecting the monster that's on the card itself from the card itself. This would be used for distractions, or to relay messages. Like if he programs a pre-recorded message, he can then leave it at a designated spot or whatever. Say he goes into a building first, he knows the situation, he recorded the message, puts it on the card, and then whoever finds it would then get the information they need. Something like that. So yeah, that's basically the functions of those distractions, and which it wouldn't distract much, I would say, unless you're an idiot. But it, some monsters are not that bright. Next is Trap Terrarium. This is one that combines the concepts of the Hypercube from Jimmy Neutron and the Ghost Trap from Ghostbusters. The Hypercube was a device that basically it was like an all-in-one storage device. It put everything, it basically shrunk it down and then put it into an alternate dimension where you could store infinite amounts of stuff, all in the size of about, not even a foot-by-foot size cube. And then the Ghost Trap from Ghostbusters is what they would trap the ghosts once they weakened them, and then it would seal them inside until they got it back to the firehouse and, put them in the containment unit. Except this is based on a terrarium. The little, box kits that you can get to, catch bugs and whatnot. You store the bugs you got, and then you can look at them until they eventually perish because they're bugs and they don't live that long. And who takes care of bugs better than kids. Yes. I've had a lot of those kinds of things too in my life, so I thought that would be an interesting thing that he could do, except it would contain monsters. It would just like he would throw it out there, they'd be like, "Hey kid, what's with the bug box?" And then it would just kind of open up and then they would just start getting sucked in, just like the ghost traps do. And it just they shrink down and now they're stuck in there. Be it may not contain every single monster, so maybe just the wolf and tiger level threats, probably about all it can hold. But hey, if it means less work and less strain on you, right? But yeah, that's about that one. Next is the hide and seek system. This is a cloaking device, just like Predator, where the alien in question, the Predator, had a cloaking device and it would stalk and everything its prey, and then you wouldn't know it was there until it was too late. This would, and then combining it with the concept of hide and go seek, another age old child game. I thought this would be pretty universal. I mean, if you can hide in plain sight, why not do it? And I figured this would incorporate like elements of just refracting light to hide himself. That's kind of how we're actually slowly developing cloaking technology for ourselves now. Like they've somehow put it into fabric to where it then refracts the light and then it makes them invisible. So I figure a real world a real world development of it into this fictional world. And like I said, who wouldn't want to hide in plain sight? You can set up sneak attacks, traps, hide allies to if they're injured, so that they can then be evacuated, all that good stuff. Or to save hostages as well. Next is the Lunar Rabbit Satellite. This is a giant looking plush bunny satellite. We know the Child Emperor already has a satellite, so this is not a stretch, but just for it to look like a giant rabbit plush is just amusing to me. And I thought, okay, where would it be stored? Because it has a secret function of a giant space laser. Don't need that hijacked at any point. So we're hiding that sucker on the moon, hence the lunar rabbit bit. Also, it plays into Japanese folklore, which, the moon rabbits and all that. Like, there's rabbits on the moon and all that good stuff. And I thought, it works. Maybe it's on the crater on the moon that Saitama made. That'd be kind of cool. But, you put the hide and seek system on it, it hides it, and then when it's needed, it comes out, it orbits the moon, and then it fires the laser. It's a trope in, science fiction and whatnot for a long time. Like the Justice League did it, the Akira movie did it. So, yeah, the space laser idea. It would be something he could do. Next is more of a technique, but it applies in equipment. It is Playhouse Protocol, based on House Party Protocol, which was from the third Iron Man movie, where Tony summoned up all of his armors using Jarvis to control them. Like, I think he was at 50 armors at that point, so 49 of them were being utilized, all being controlled at the same time, all that, or however many were actually still in existence. I doubt the first one would have been completely functional, but, he might have rebuilt it. But yeah, so he just summons all of those, and then that would be the fight. Well, for Child Emperor, these would be the prototypes of the Brave Giant. Presumably, he has at least a few of these, knocking around in his various development labs, right? So, why not utilize them? I mean, old tech can still be good tech, And, next and finally, we have upgrades for the Brave Giant. I thought, okay, let's go Gurren Lagann with this. We can have a mech inside of a mech. like pilot goes into the mech, and then the mech then pilots the next mech kind of deal. I love the whole nesting doll concept of Gurren Lagann. So I thought, and plus with a line that happened during the Phoenix Man fight where it was like, okay, he has 3 minutes of power for the Brave Giant, and then it explodes. Well, what if you can funnel all of that extra energy from the explosion, averting the explosion, and then powering a more powerful robot, right? Basically, it would be like Brave Giant becomes the Courageous Colossus. Something like that, for lack of a better name. Or we could do a similar thing of like in Transformers Energon, the super form of Optimus Prime, he would like combine these various vehicles onto himself in different configurations. Like he had a drill, a submarine, and I forget some of the others. I'll have a picture up there. And he would just assort them however he need. Like if he wanted the drill arm, he could have the drill arm. So maybe we could do this, like various vehicles form the giant robot. And then like say you've got some drills. We've seen the Brave Giant transform from drills, so the concept isn't completely alien. And, so then he just has like a bunch of various vehicles that come in, and they just form around Brave Giant, making a bigger body. And then whatever equipment they would be equipped with, he is now equipped with. Bigger arsenal, a better armor, maybe array of sensors and, other equipment of various sorts. There you go. But yeah, that's about all I have for this one. Child Emperor is a fun character to, play around with ideas. With the potential that he has, it's limitless. You just combine child toy with whatever device you want. There you go, perfect union of cool device. So yeah, there may be future installments of his power-ups in the future. I don't know. But yeah, let me know what you thought. Anything that, piqued your interest, any ideas you've had about Child Emperor's future gadgets and whatnot, and let me know. And until next time, Quichling, I stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. I upload them to YouTube the next day in that cycle. Also on Saturdays, sometimes Sundays. I do a podcast with Griever. We talk about the manga we've read that week. We call it the Weekly Manga Roundup. And yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. Here's where you can find me. Links down below. Until next time, Quichling, roll out.